energy and eggs have in common? The Batista brothers, better known as the luckiest men in Brazil. Just take a look at this. The most famous detergent brand in Brazil, IP, whose owners donated over $15 million to Bolsonaro's campaign during the election. Their products have now been suspended by Anvisa. Okay, but everyone already knows that. What you don't know is that IP's main competitor is Minuano. And guess who owns the group that Minuano is part of? Exactly, the Batista brothers. So could this have been done to help Minuano? Maybe, but let's continue. In January 2025, the Batista brothers bought half of Mantiqueira, the largest egg producer in Brazil, to law. Weeks later, the government published a decree stating that eggs sold in bulk should have a mandatory stamp. After much pressure from the National Congress and the population, they revoked this mandatory stamp. If it had come into effect, who would it have helped? Who bought half of the largest egg producer in Brazil? It's outrageous. Because small producers didn't have that technology. And guess who did have that technology? That's right, bingo. But wait, there's more. 24, the Batista brothers bought a power plant from Anita Reyes for $4.7 billion. 3 days later, the Lula government published a provisional measure to transfer the debt of these plants to where? Guess? Yes, to your electricity bill. A debt of our $10 billion. I asked you, who benefited from this? Exactly. The Batista brothers. You lost. I'm not the one saying this, okay? You can look it up. It's Globo. Globo. In 2017, José Batista made a plea bargain saying that he delivered almost $150 million to former President Dilma and Lula in bribes.
During Lula's presidency, I think it reached about $80 million. Then with Dilma, it reached 70. Or vice versa, 70 with Lula, 80 with Dilma.
They were arrested, then released, always in Brazil, right? Time passes, and in 2022, the Batista brothers hired Zanin, who had been Lula's lawyer, to try to get them out of this billion-dollar JBS fine. A year later, Zanin, who was Lula's former lawyer and also José Batista's, ends up becoming a Supreme Court justice appointed by Lula. Lula. For that reason, Justice Zanin correctly chooses to recuse himself from reporting on any case concerning José Batista and JBS. After all, he was their lawyer in the past. But hold on, in Brazil, there's always a way around things. At the end of that same year, another judge comes along and suspends $30 fine. And yes, this judge is called Diazzo, appointed by Lula. It's incredibly lucky for those men, because every time a sector of the economy comes onto their radar, there's always a decision that they favor crippling small competition and paving the way for their grand empire ba-oka. As a congressman, I could contact the Attorney General's office, the Public Prosecutor's office, but honestly, are all these coincidences really happening without anyone knowing, without anyone agreeing, or even, helping, or even, throughout history, the Batista brothers have been involved in numerous corruption scandals in our country. And in 2017, many corrupt individuals were arrested. And finally, I remember thinking and saying, wow, man, I think Brazil is finally going to move forward. And years later, Lula himself was being arrested, accused